Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Aloha Deep Dive Podcast. And today, I'm still your host, John Watts, along with Brad Cook and Jamie Worrell. I had like a frog in my throat there. John Worrell along with us. And
the Brothers Worrell.
Yes, the Brothers Worrell.
Yeah, we take nepotism serious around here.
Man, we make sure we have plenty of it, right?
Yeah.
So, and what do you do for the company, John?
Well, right now I am the service manager, and took over that role first of the year, and so trying to get, processes down and just all things service right now.
So, and John, take us back to your first day at Aloha.
Well, my first day was.
What were you gonna? What were you hired to do?
I was actually hired to. I was actually hired to dig pools, and the learning curve was with Larry Fry. Him and I went out and he would dig some and I would dig some, and then it got to it went from digging pools to doing a little communication with above ground and stealths, because we had not, the communication with the customer and scheduling and stuff was difficult. And then from there, being in what we call the war room and seeing how the process goes, I went to construction and helped in that office, with coordination. And then from there, we went from inside the war room to in the field with the PC program. Myself and Chaco were the first PCs. And,
project coordinator. Yeah,
project coordinator. And I was west of the Mississippi, and Chaco was east of the Mississippi. And we had, for a small time there, we had a PC up in the St. Louis area, which is a whole animal in itself. But this past season, it was just him and I on opposite sides of the river. And so coordinating all the builds and customer communication and then toward the end of this last season, I guess it was right around Christmas, is when Brittany, took the teaching job. And so from, the last part of the December month, and then this month just trying to get the service department, where we can be functional under new management, because everybody has a different management style. So
let's step back a few years prior to this. Like, other than being Jamie's brother and Jamie recruiting you to come to work here, what qualified you? Like, what did you do? Tell us. This is John Worrell's life here. What all did you do? Get out of school, your first job, work your way on up here, and not Baptist preacher style, which John actually might touch on that as he walks through here, walks through this. But tell us about kind of what led you up to here.
Well, our Jamie and our paths are completely different. His is more art and musical, and he was, for lack of a better term, you never had a real job, I don't think, did you? Like physical job?
I thought this was supposed to be about you.
I'm sorry.
I had about 4.
Yeah.
But it's not my turn.
Yeah. So, I went to college and got a degree in public Christian education, and basically it's a public relations side of Christian education. It's a PR is what it is, and leadership, and got done with my degree and started full-time ministry, and then realizing that ministry was difficult in a lot of ways. So I went bivocational, which is basically you not only do you hold a ministry position, you also do something in the workforce. And so I always have had that, I have been stricken with some of the worst jobs. Have you see the show Dirty Jobs?
Yeah.
Loved it. I lived it. I worked at Barker Brothers for a year and a half.
Local waste
garbage.
management.
Yeah. Worked at the tankage plant, which is used to be Griffin. I'm not sure what they call it now.
Yeah.
Anybody that lives near Union City knows exactly what that is.
Yeah, they may not know what it is, but when they drive by, they smell it. Yeah, that's for sure.
And then, for a local municipality, I worked in a sewer crew and put in sewer lines and.
So lots of things that your job just stank.
Man, I'm telling you, it was.
So you fit right in when you got here.
Well, it's funny when we hit a sewer line or something, there's panic, but I'm like, hey, it's all right. We can handle this. So just but anywhere I went, I was able to work up into management. Strictly because I think that I tried to make myself, just irreplaceable, and so when somebody would say, well, we need to try this, or can we try that? I would always say, yeah, I'll get on that machine. I'll push the snow, or I'll, run the backhoe or track hoe.
And that was something from Dad for sure.
Yeah, I think so.
That was Dad's number one advice with jobs.
Just jump on it and and learn it and
make sure that you got everything under your belt. So
I think a good part of a good manager is somebody who can build such a program that it can run itself. I believe that, but I also believe that when we hire somebody or I talk to somebody, I talk to my kids, I tell them, if you can miss 2 or 3 weeks of work and not be missed, you're not doing something right. And so I wanted to be that person wherever I went, that if I was not there, something was not done. And like I said, there are positives and negatives to that. But so that's kind of where I come up through, even here at Aloha.
And you've done that. You've never said no to any job change, position. I respect that, and I appreciate that. And I know that at some point, Jamie's pretty much at the top of the food chain for now. He's a general manager, but isn't your plan to take over his job?
It's the end goal. It's the end goal for him for me.
The odds be ever in your favor.
Yeah, that's every time I have an internal list that I check off. Just check off. So yeah, service department is something that we have our leadership meetings, and last year we were at our local library.
Good story.
And we were all, as far as the leadership and departments, we were all talking about whose job would you like to try?
Would you like
to try?
Yeah, you think you could do?
It was whose job around the table would you want to do, and whose job would you quit if you had to do?
Yeah.
That was the
and everybody said if they had Brittany's job, they would quit, which is service manager.
Right.
And I was like, you know what? I'd like to give it a shot now. It's probably good. I may, there are times where I think,
it's a lot.
It's a lot.
But can we revisit that Memorial Day week?
That's right. Yeah. But yeah, the challenge and our dad instilled in us that go to work. Even with snow on the ground, I think Monday I stayed at the house and I was like, it just didn't feel right. Be the first one in the building, and a lot of days be the last one out. And so that was our, he instilled that in us. My mom, same way. They're just, there was no sick days. I think when I was born, now when families have babies, men will take off for a month,
right?
A paternity leave. And I think my dad missed maybe one day at Real Foot Packing Company when I was born, maybe one day, and that was because it was a weekend. So I think I missed a couple of days, 2 days with Asher, our third one, and so you can call it work ethic, but it was, we're not going to sit back, and be scared and have, it bothers me when somebody has suggestions, but doesn't, you don't have the courage to jump out there and try. So if I've got a suggestion about how something can run smoother, then I want to put money where my mouth is and try it and get it done.
Well, speaking of which, let's talk about service. Now you're the manager of the service department, and pretty soon, within say around March 1st, I think with every day that passes, the phone will start ringing a little more and a little more until before you know it, the phone is ringing off the proverbial wall, and everybody, it's like a madhouse here, and that's what you've been around and you know it's coming, and I guess to the point to where you know that it's coming and you know the level of intensity because you've been at least in the room next door to it.
Yeah.
But we've invested thousands upon thousands of dollars to try to get our service department manageable, and I wanted to kind of spend a few minutes with Jamie. And going back, Jamie started off in the service department, and we had somebody to leave. And Jamie's maybe a story for another time, and we might have told it. But Jamie, one person left. I think it was May that left, and she said, "Jamie's your man. He's going to be fine. He's going to do it. He's good." And she left.
She was just glad to get out of there.
That's all it was.
It could have been a monkey. Wouldn't have mattered.
That's
That's your guy right there.
Right. And so he's had to deal with it, and he knows. And I think he will say that you can try to prepare somebody for spring. You come in the fall and you say, it's going to be busy. It's going to be busy. And no matter what we do to try to prepare people for that busyness, they say, I didn't have any idea. You told me it was going to be busy, but I didn't have any idea what. And you can expand on that.
You see it in the eyes. Everybody that we've hired and has either started in the department and then moved to other departments. There's about that, and you can say the first week of March, but it's really the first 2 consecutive days that it's higher than 65 degrees.
Okay,
the phones start going, okay, and especially depending on when you hire somebody. If they've hired in the fall and they've gotten used to, okay, this is all right, this is manageable, and then that first big hit of warm weather where people are sick and tired of being cooped up in their houses, and even if it's going to get cold next week, I'm still out. I still need to get my spring plan going, and then all of a sudden that phone rings, and it's inevitably I'll walk down that hallway and I'll see at least one pair of new eyes going. Yeah. This is it, and then sometimes they're there the next day, and sometimes they're not.
Right.
But or they end up in different departments. But I will say because that is where I started. John took the path of more dirty jobs. I took the path of more customer service oriented jobs.
HR,
I was human resources and customer service for Walmart for a good amount of years, and so I was more on the line of solving angry customer problems than actually out doing the sewer work and things like that.
You sold cell phones for a while.
I did that at the Walmart and then Fulton. But
I sent you, like, I think Service Titan was stalking me on Facebook.
Yes.
And I shared that with you.
The state of the service department was, and I'll kind of give you just a quick overview of how, and not that it was wrong or bad or anything. It was what was necessary at the time. But I remember coming in because Brad I had text Brad interested, and Brad texted and said, "Hey, I want you to go meet Miss May here at the store, and y'all talk. Tell me what you think." And I turned the corner, and it was just. Not again. I don't say bad, but it was just
like a whiteboard hell.
There were 3 walls, and all 3 walls were covered in whiteboard. And on the whiteboard, there were sticky notes with little notes and things, and there were big stacks of paper. And she was in it even then, getting ready for what was inevitably coming. But starting that first couple of weeks, where you picked up the phone, you talked to the customer, you hung up the phone, you walked over to the whiteboard, and you you scratch them on this day because this wall was Cape and this wall was Jonesboro and this wall is Union City, and this week we're on, or this day of the week we're in this area of Union City, and this day of the week we're in this area of Dyersburg, and making sure it was just. And then you spent the morning printing the papers that were going to come out, and the text would come to the door, and you would hand the papers out, and there would be parts flying. It was just like everything goes through an evolution. But
mind you, it was all on a computer screen.
100%.
Like we did have the technology
100%.
back then, so I didn't want anybody to, because of 2020. What you're talking about?
Yeah.
So I don't want anybody that sees this
He's
to think
describing
that
the Middle Ages.
It sounds like the
we were
80s.
so in the Dark Ages. We were just using the technological brains.
yeah.
And love everybody that was there at the time.
100%.
Still do. Love
because
them.
it worked for what it was.
And and I didn't know how to teach people how to do that. So there was no system that brought people in and said, "Here's the system, use it." So
we still had happy customers. I mean, it wasn't like, and we've even grown that, but all the way down to using cell phones and taking pictures. When you wanted to send an invoice, you took a picture of the computer screen and you sent it to customers on a text thread. Had all these people, and
that was technology.
And then you had 2 or 3 phones that swam around. That it was like, okay, this has a conversation from
text phone.
Oh, it was
Right.
an absolute for me. It was an absolute skin crawling nightmare. We made it work, but the farther along you got, the more you realized, as many pools as we're building, this particular structure can't be sustainable.
Yeah.
And that's where I was at home. Of course, it was I know it was the middle of the night, and you sent me some random thing on Facebook with Service Titan. It was
No.
like, hey, yes, right.
He would never do
yes,
that.
Yes. It was like, hey, check this out. Never what you think. And which really meant I don't really want to talk about it.
But
I just
you
want
don't have
to
to answer him either. He just sends it.
That's
It's your
it.
fault if you answer.
That's it. That's it.
You saved me some bread.
So you sent me that, and I kind of started the conversation with folks, and basically it was I remember the day because it was April Fool's, but April 1st of 21, we moved over into embracing some technology.
Yeah.
And it's still, even to this day, a little, you have, Brad and I were even talking about this last night. I wish we could have snapshots of where we have been over the last 4 years, because if we could jump in a time machine and take us back to that I literally started the week before the pandemic shut down. Like, I remember sitting in where Chemo's office is right now, having my phone there and watching them make the big announcement that, hey, here's what's going to happen. It's only going to be 2 weeks. Here's what's going to happen. We were like, oh crap, how do we figure this out? And now we can't go into customer yards without this happening. And there was just, all of a sudden, there were just rules in the making. And so on top of all of that, you had this big shift on how you dealt with customers. Anyways, and so it was the right move to move into something like Service Titan, and even now, because Service Titan, we actually have the ability now to it maps a little better. It communicates with customers. It makes it easier for you to manage your day and manage communication.
Yeah, sorry to step in, but I was just going to say, remember when we were talking about that text phone that was floating around in the office? Somebody goes to lunch, say, "Hey, take the text phone in case somebody texts." And so now that's all
that's gone. Yes, it's all right there in Service Titan.
But you can still text
a number, and we encourage it because it's easier to manage. But yes, you can text into our service department now, and it attaches straight to the jobs. If you call us, we can see everything we've done right there on the screen with you on the phone. It automatically attaches to your file and brings it up. We were here 2 weeks ago and we're doing this, so it gives the call takers the ability to see and be able to kind of answer the questions better.
I've never answered one service call, but give me a scenario. I call into the service, or John Watts calls into the service office.
Hi, I need help with my pool.
Well, fair enough.
This is John Watts. Come out to my pool, please.
And then
It's
we
broken.
immediately hang up because we think it's a spam caller.
That's not real. Click.
But if they are a customer that's in our system, we'll say, because we have to qualify that first, right?
Right.
because you have to get entered to the system. Then what happens? What happens on the screen?
So as soon as all of the screens are, you can do a lot of things in it, but day to day, someone like Kristen in our service department, her main screen is the booking screen, and that's where all the phone calls comes in. So as soon as John Watts picks up the phone and calls, a green bubble pops up and basically says, "This is John Watts. This is his number." And as soon as you click that call bubble, it will connect the call to the phone system, and then you're talking to them. But as soon as you click the call bubble, it automatically opens up to let you know, okay, this is John Watts. This is the location he's attached to. And we opened them last week. We opened them last year.
So his entire file.
You can click.
His entire
the top of the screen has each job you've done at that location.
So when a customer gets to a live person,
yes.
and sometimes
Yes.
in the middle of the season, it's finally.
Yes.
So we don't have to scratch around and dig around in paper files.
Nope.
And
And not only that,
whiteboards
but a little deeper. If John Watts sold his house to Tess, and Tess called in and said, "Okay, I've bought," or John called us and said, "I've sold the house," or Tess called it, "I bought this house. Here's the address," and we change everything over to Tess's name. Those same jobs we did for John Watts will pull because it's attached to that house and location.
Right, to the location.
So basically, it's here's the equipment that's on that pool. Here's everything we did, regardless of who the owner was. So selling, transferring, all that stays.
Do you also have notes on there that says John Watts is a problem customer?
I would for you. Yes, yes. There are all kinds of notes. That's a good point. Where we have some customers that are they live in communities where there's gate codes, or they have animals, or they're going to pay by check day of, and so there's all kinds of little notes and nuances, and there's some notes we put on where, like, hey, this customer always wants a phone call. If you text them, they're going to bite your head off.
Right.
Yeah.
But because that's a thing. It takes all kinds.
Service.
Exactly. So you can put a tag on there that says always prefers a phone call, so that if they do call in and you've got to return something to them, when you go to open their file, it says, hey,
this customer always answers the door naked.
That could be one. Yeah. We would probably,
with holy jeans.
Then there's that magical do not service that pops up. But yeah, that's it goes all the way through invoicing. So I mean, everything that the technician gets to the shops in the morning, they open they can do it on their phone, or they can do it on an iPad and see, this is what we're doing today, this is where we're going, this is what we need. And then they tap a couple buttons and it automatically sends a notification out to the customer saying, hey, your technician, Jake, is on his way, and it gives a little profile of who Jake is and what Jake looks like, so that nothing random popping up. You got an idea.
Yeah, I've pushed back a little, not pushed back, but I'm struggling with the complete AI version of complete technical version of construction and service, but I know that we've got to keep up. Mm-hmm. Like no matter how much but I still want even listeners to know that you're not serviced by a computer. That we can still we still mm-hmm. have phone calls and we still talk, and
Absolutely.
I get in trouble all the time. I've got my cell phone, and the service chat goes to my cell phone, just as text messages,
alerts.
And I treat it like I do answering my wife, and I don't know if she'll ever watch this. She may, but so when she texts me something and I'd see that it's not like extremely serious, I won't stop what I'm doing. I will take a mental note, get back to it, but I'm not going to stop what I'm doing. But if she texts something that I know we need to do something here.
And you're speaking after hours.
After hours, yeah, after hours. Yeah. That's right. So if I see something, hey, the thing about being in the field for a couple of years and seeing customers go through the pool build stage, the first thing, they're overwhelmed. I don't think you can mentally prepare them as much as you would like to for the storm that is going to take over their yards and their neighborhoods. So, and then you add on that they feel like it's a rocket ship that anything, little thing they do, they can break something. So it's overwhelming. It's, you can do
and everything that happens to their pool is catastrophic.
Yeah,
everything is going to result in millions of dollars and a terrible, awful
so
thing.
when I used to do pool schools, and I'd be walking away, and and Mr. or Miss Customer would say, "So wait, what are you going to come back, or and I always tell them, look, all you've got to do is call, or we'll make sure that you're taken care of. But I just didn't, I don't ever want any, because some people love that. I don't want to talk to you. I just want to message you.
I was going to bring that up.
I just want to message you. And then, but some people, you talk to Granddad and he's like, well, don't text me this. I just don't think that's good customer service. But 8 out of 10 people say, just shoot me a text.
You got to strike that balance.
But and I respect the whole you're not talking to computers here, and that's definitely an option to not talk to computers. But this AI, AI in Service Titan is not going away, and AI is not going away. And the great thing about what we've got going on is we're embracing it to an extent, but at some point that customer, I don't know, there's a lot to unpack with this, because I know that we're about to turn on a function that will allow for AI to handle simple calls like,
I need to open my pool. I need to close my pool. Sure, it can see the open slots on the schedule, and it can see that the job type takes this skill, and it can see it has available technicians, so it can go ahead and do that. But hey, I've got a leak. It won't touch that, because there's going to be some trial and error with that, so to speak.
But I think about this. This is maybe a little more philosophical, or a sign of the times. But not knowing how good it is, if Granddad is going to know that he's talking to, because Chad was telling me that he was on a conversation with somebody for
it's getting
8 minutes the other day.
It's getting better and better.
He didn't know that it was AI until some sort of little glitch happened in whatever they said. And so I'd rather our AI bot sound like a computer, to be blatantly obvious to our customers, because I do not want that to happen.
And most of our AI guy is going to be
service,
exactly. Most of our AI guy is going to be after hours, because really what it's going to help us try to eliminate is the thing that most customers don't love, and that's leaving a voicemail. Because that AI guy is always going to be able to take a call whenever. And overnight, if you wanted to book a pool appointment for opening, it can do that without touching anything. Or if you really need to talk to somebody, it's going to let you know, hey, we don't have anybody. Our store opens our service department opens at 9. I'm going to put this note right here in a follow-up tab, and they're going to start there.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
That
amazing
kind of thing.
For that.
So there's no, I've got to come in now and listen to voicemails and try to get back with those people, because in the spring and summer, the voicemails can get to the point where you can spend half your day listening to calls that came in when you were closed. Yeah. In the meantime, calls are still coming in now, and so it's tripping over yourself to get all the answers.
Do you think customers expect us to be here 24/7, or will they accept the AI?
I think it goes back to in earlier podcasts I talked about the thing about it is what you were just talking about. If a new pool owner catches a glimpse of a floated pool liner or water behind a liner, they're immediately like, the
whole thing is
we're going to have to rip this whole pool out.
Understandably so. I mean, it's overwhelming.
And to your point, no AI bot is going to be able to calm that storm. They're going to have to talk to a person, because I remember my first few, even I was like, oh my gosh, that looks awful. I don't know how we're going to fix that. Let me talk to, versus now, once that voice says, listen, here's all that's happened, and here's all it's going to take to get that handled, and I'm going to send you a picture of what a before and after looks like. Do not worry. Right. I know that seems like it's huge, but I don't want to lose that. We can't lose that.
Part of what we're doing with videos too. We need to do a video on that, on a floated liner, so people they can get on and find it.
It looks catastrophic. It looks awful.
There's still nothing. There's nothing more rewarding than. Last week I was talking to a customer somewhere around Poplar Bluff, and and he, you know, he had panicked a little bit because of the storms coming in and the temperatures, and it wasn't, you know, the pool just wasn't performing like he thought it should, and so I called him and we were talking, and you know, like I said, by being in the field for a couple of years, I was able to picture, you know, picture what he's got going on. And so we check the pressure gauge. Let's see what, you know, when's the last time you backwash? Let's come to find out that his weir, you know, and the skimmers had locked up. And so, you know, I said, now reach your hand in there and, you know, break that loose. And all of a sudden it just worked. And you hearing he was like, oh my gosh, like, you know, just the peace that come over him.
Right.
You know, when you hang up the phone, you're like, yeah, I just helped that guy.
And AI,
Yeah.
and AI is a way from being able to do that. It's probably
that for
coming.
sure. That for sure.
In the meantime, let's think about what happens on May the 8th. It's almost Mother's Day. How busy the phone is, and then the people are sitting in our queue, because that's another thing that we have with Service Titan, is we have a queue where in John's office, the service manager's office, you can see how many calls are in the queue. And let's just say you're the 10th person on the queue, and you have the option to sit there and wait for 20, or I don't know, man. I mean, I know sometimes it could be 30 minutes, depending on how long-winded the customers before you are, and you have that option to just get what you want. It'll
do a few things. It will step in basically, and which, number one, if you call right now and you wait in line, or you don't, and you hang up, you're going to get a text from us that says, hey, we noticed that you called in and you didn't get a response. Did you need anything? Or if you needed anything, basically it's just,
they're going to say, no, I just called to see how you guys. Sorry, we
couldn't get to
great.
you. And then, but then when they text that a response, it comes through that same texting platform inside Service Titan, and it'll put a banner over it that says, hey, this was somebody that hung up or they didn't get connected. They also have the option to be called back, where it's like, hey, you press 2 and then we're going to hang up the phone, and then once the traffic slows, it's going to start and calling people back. So then Kristen's phone rings and it was somebody who was put on that just wait a minute line, and then it automatically picks back up. Or overflow will go back to that AI person that's like, hey, what did you need? Did you need a pool opening or a closing? If they hear that, then they can book that. If not, they put it back in that follow-up tab. So there's going to be a whole lot happening that hopefully makes it a little more seamless on the customer side, because you can it's either going to text you and say, hey, you can text us what you needed. It's going to say, hey, you can wait in line digitally and you can go about your business and we're going to call you back. Or just leave schedule your call with the AI if it's an opening or closing, or have them put us on a follow-up and we'll call you back later.
You know, and this is Service Titan specific, but a little bit off the subject. One of my favorite features, and I can honestly say I don't know that I've ever truly used it, because I'm just not that guy that needs to watch my service technician come to make his way to the house. But you may not know this, but tell us about dispatching and how.
Well, once someone dispatches, they get a message that has the person's picture that's coming to your house and a little bit about them. And then it'll also send you a link where you can kind of watch where they are.
Oh, I love that.
So
I'm definitely that guy. I watch my pizzas come all the time. I'm like, no, turn left. Look, he missed the turn. He missed the turn.
Well, and the problem with that is, you know, a lot of the concerns that a customer has when they call in and set an appointment is, what time are you thinking you're going to be here? Well, you know, a lot of that depends on how many jobs the tech's got and where they're at and how long those jobs take.
Impossible.
So it really is hard. So, but if
let's use the first call of the day,
they can visualize that, and then they kind of get an estimate on what time they'd be there. But watching it is.
But is it like it is like the Uber? Do you watch the thing come to the house?
Does it say that your technician, much like Domino's, has a few stops before you, but they'll be on their
no, because it's only going to initiate because basically what they're saying is, I'm done with this job. They close it out, and then they dispatch to the next job, and it automates. Hey, it sends the customer a text message. Hey, I'm coming. I'm on my way now, and then that's when it sends them the link to show you whether they're 10 minutes away, 30 minutes away.
When it says I'm on the way to John's, I'm coming.
I wish we had that type of your number 4 on the list.
Yeah.
And that's the best we can do, at this point.
Until you hit a leak.
What's that?
Until you hit a leak.
Oh yeah, no.
And then it's like, you were 4, now you're maybe, because that's something else that's
they get bumped to the next day.
Maybe it all depends, because that's something I would want people that are interested in service to know, and servicing customers, that leaks and diagnostics are 2 of the biggest bears that we've got. Like it may take a few trips to your house, right, to find out what's going on with a leak, because you may have more than one. So we're losing water is a whole diagnostic process that a lot of times isn't now you're not losing water. We appreciate you. Call back. So, but it's also one of those that from setting up this AI person was one that was difficult, because you have varying jobs, that to say that a leak takes an hour to fix is crazy. Right. Like you don't know that, because you could get there and in 20 minutes identify it's at the step, fix it, and you're gone. Or you could spend an hour and a half trying to ping something and doing some dye tests. There's all kinds of things you could do that make a leak either 30 minutes, an hour. It could be 2 hours. It could take a few days worth of visits.
Dispatching and scheduling, you have to be mindful of that.
Exactly.
You don't
Which is
want to
why
schedule,
it can't be handed to AI.
You don't want to schedule a leak detector right in the middle of 5 openings or closings. You want to think ahead, so to speak.
I think most customers or most people, most reasonable people anyway, should view this maybe as an ER. Kind of like, that if I come in and I've been shot in the chest, I'm probably going to go ahead of the person that has, that's there because they woke up and they just feel a little woozy and they, everything's okay. They're not sure what's going on, but this guy's bleeding out of his face. Yeah. So he's going to be jumped up.
We call that 2 words, dead pump.
Oh.
Yeah.
Anytime in the middle of summer you hear dead pump, everybody goes, whoop, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is, because that's if we've got a drip, and that's my famous saying is, if you've got a nuisance leak at your filter pad, we'll get to that. But if it's totally going to get pushed if somebody's got a dead pump, because within a couple of days in the summer, you're going to lose water clarity, and the pool will be unswimmable, and then the recovery of the water is going to cost a little bit of time and a little bit of money, and in some cases, it could be more than a little bit of money.
So that's the emergency is dead pump, and 2, the magic question during those tough times is, are you swimming?
Right.
Are you swimming? And it's not a disrespectful question. It's just saying, we want to keep the folks that aren't swimming. We want to get them back to swimming. That's the goal is to trust. So a leak on the equipment pad that's a drip is going to be a different priority than someone who's not running at all.
So if you're listening at home, the way to jump the line is to say dead pump. So I'm going to dead pump. We're going to have thousands of dead pumps this time.
That's it.
Oh no, I forgot to say. It's not a dead pump.
Fine.
It's just a drip right there.
That's it.
You helped them crack the code now.
And that's the thing is, it's funny as the time that I've spent in and around the office, you can basically pin it to months and sections on the calendar. Some fun times. It's fun. The service office is fun when people start calling to get openings done, because you feel like you're,
busy day.
We close this many pools, or we open this many pools, and these people are doing this and this. So from about, like you said, it's probably mid-March, late March, certainly early April, people start banging down the doors to get their openings, which you should do that in the fall, but to get their openings scheduled, so you feel like you're moving the needle and you're helping customers, and that lasts from about April to May, the first big push to the first holiday of the pool season, which is
Mother's
Memorial
Day?
Day.
Oh, okay.
Memorial Day, basically.
I got you.
And then from about Memorial Day through, I don't know, June-ish is the time where you really feel like you're in
Hell?
in call hell,
Right.
because the jobs stop being go do that, because now pools are running. It's the new phase of pools off to pools on to now pools have been running for a minute, and now we start spotting issues, and you get the customers that are going, it's just going, and then you got to figure out, okay, who we got to send to do the diagnostic process, and those are rarely, you want them to be one stops, but sometimes they're not, because you got there and realized it was a whole nother part that was necessary, and now you got to wait for parts. So that section of time from about, I don't know, the graduation, school's out until about early part of August, mid-June is where the diagnostics calls comes in. And then it gets more fun again, because people are calling to close, and you get back to scheduling, you get back to moving. It's a sad time for most people, because they want to push it and push it and push it. Right. Then we call that fighting the leaves.
Then the leaves start falling.
Fighting the leaves.
Let's go back to the because you said you went into the microphone and said book your opening in the fall, but let's say somebody calls the Monday after Mother's Day, so somewhere around the 12th or 13th of May, and they say they want their pool opened, and they want, because they have a big Memorial Day party. What would be your advice to them?
When did they call?
May 13th.
May 13th, wanting their pool open by Memorial Day.
Right.
Dead pump.
That's it. You're exactly right. You're exactly right.
The schedule right now is if you pulled it up, it was, it looks like February is like, gosh, what
we're going to do?
Yeah, we're plugging in stuff that we rapid
Good time
response.
to put in a liner.
Yeah, rapid response,
great time.
and then March and April's like, just spiked. So one thing that we've tried to do, and you are pushing it that way, of course, is to the construction to service handoff. And one of the last things I would tell them during the pool school is go ahead and schedule your opening, schedule your closing now. Right. I think we've got something like 940 jobs that are booked this year. There are some people that already have their closing booked and hadn't even opened yet.
That's the that's the magic.
Yeah.
When you close, plan next year.
Yeah.
Next year. When you close, go ahead and plan it. Because you can always say, I want to close third week of September.
And we can
And
adjust
then if that gets here, push it back. But being on the schedule is the best. Just being on the schedule is so much easier. Go ahead and get your hours worth on that board, because it's nothing for us to move that. And we get it all the time where people are like, hey, the weather's holding out, but can we push to October? Absolutely. Let's push it back. That's no problem.
Nice.
And that's so much better than you not being on the schedule at all. And now we've got to try to fit that in, because we have customers that I know I can't call her name, but there's one customer that every year she will close and then book the next year's opening, closing, and then the next year's opening.
Nice.
Just go ahead and so then when she closes, I think I've already got my opening book, but go ahead and let me know. And then your opening's on here, so we'll get your closing.
Is her name Cindy Cook?
No.
And those customers have been with us long enough. They know that they know if they call and they have a problem or text or whatever, they know how we work. And they work with us.
Yeah, and I think for the most part, people are creatures of habit, 100%. Except for that scenario where, like, we swam on October 13th. I'm pretty sure this past year, because it was one of those weird late falls. And that may be where the season is trending. But for the most part, people are creatures of habit, and they can book it for the next 5 years for that matter.
Very
if our
well
system
could
would allow it, because
that would be the only advice that I think we would all agree on is get it booked. Just get it booked now, because we can always shift it. It's just better to be on that list. So
less flexible is the opening, and that's why I was going back to that May 8th thing. It's hard.
Oh yeah,
it's hard for somebody to call, and people will get mad. They say, like, that some people will get almost irate that we don't have a spot before Memorial Day weekend on May 8th. And we're really kind of booked at that point.
Yeah,
so.
And that's why there's Valentine's Day stuff hanging out at the end of December.
Right.
But
because that it's not about when you need it, because you got to
right.
And see, and what Ethan in the service office and has been doing for quite some time is he'll go look at all these calls whenever he gets in from duck hunting. When he gets back, he'll start looking at the calls, and they've kind of honed it in. But the more calls that we have up front, the more we can just squeeze into neighborhoods, and so we could go. And I always use a scenario. We covered Newbern and Dyersburg and Caruthersville on a route, so we could be in all three of those towns in a day, on a day of the week, or we could go to Newbern one week in April, and then just really get after, and then another.
But that also strengthens the point we're making that if you're already on the books, and we know that we're on that route, we can even look a week ahead and go, hey, we're gonna be in this area. Do you mind us moving it? Sure, absolutely. Come on.
It's possible. Yeah, it's possible because of that. It's more possible, and it's more. We're more capable of getting more work done because of all this. It's really worked out.
But not if you don't book. Book. Go ahead and get on the books.
We've been talking for almost an hour now, and if you're still listening and you're in this deep, you've thank you for hanging out.
That's exactly right.
But I wanted to before we get to what's the craziest service call or service appointment that we've ever been on that you remember.
We'll have
from
to
your
ask
experience.
Jay and Ethan.
No names, no customer names.
I can give you some construction stories, but service. I mean,
you're too new to this.
Yeah, I don't have any stories on service yet, other than just overhearing the
We'll
guys.
revisit next year this time.
Well, exactly.
Ethan won an award for falling into. We typically at our Christmas party we reward bad behavior for some reason, which I don't think it's bad behavior.
It's a culture thing.
He fell into the pool. He was walking backwards on this curvy pool, and he didn't realize the curvature of the pool was about to send him swimming. So
there are stories for sure.
No, oh gosh,
we built a pool last year in Jonesboro next to a famous haunted cemetery, and a couple of our the amigos that work on the crew were just not fans at all. And this is a famous there in the middle of Jonesboro, so.
And that famous haunted area.
I'm sure you capitalized on it.
Oh, absolutely.
This is a whole new podcast right now. Like this, I'm intrigued. I'm excited.
Dim these lights.
It's for sure. That was fun. And then, gosh, there's just so many stories that and I know Jay.
We'll have to revisit that another time and maybe get some of them on.
I don't remember the customer's name, but it was early on in my tenure in the service department where we took a call and said, hey, I got something bad. I got something I think's bad. And I remember May being on the phone and I heard the customer say, yeah, it's a fiberglass. Yeah, we drained it. And she said, what do you mean you drained it? It's like, yeah, because we didn't build the pool. And they, can we send you pictures? Yeah, we send you pictures. And it was out of the ground by that much. Like they had pavers and everything that were, and luckily we didn't have to go. But that was one of my first lessons in the service office without us is never drain a fiber. Don't drain the fiberglass.
Preach.
Do not drain a fiberglass. I think I need to. No, you don't. There is never a reason for you to drain a fiber ever. Don't do that.
And as heavy as concrete weighs, we had one pop out of the ground. Again, it was one that predated my tenure in the business. It was that old, but we had one to pop out of the ground. The deep end popped out of the ground about 2 feet out there. And
didn't even know that's possible.
Oh, yeah.
From dumb Mr. Non-Pool guy that just recently joined Aloha. I didn't know that was I never heard of a floating liner, and I've never heard of that. Like you would think that fiberglass would just stay.
It's weird. Pools are built to have water in them.
Yeah, but the same thing. They're waterproof from both sides, right? So absence of water in the ground makes them float. That's a simple thing.
Yeah.
And here's the thing: that you'll get the same energy from the people that have floated liners from the people that have a pool that's popped out of the ground. But we'll get that. Hey, floated liner, that's fine. Yeah. Popped out of the ground. I don't know what you're going to do about that.
Oh,
Yeah, call Brad.
That's it.
We'll figure something out.
I need pictures and video of every possible angle of that pool, but
dead
never
pump,
ever
floating
ever do that.
fiberglass, which
New fiberglass even.
Well, I guess it goes back to the ER. If the person is in the ER in one room is dead,
Yes.
they sit there for a little bit. We're going to work on the dead pump.
That's it.
Hey,
That's
that
right.
floating fiberglass. Is dead.
That's right. There's no chance.
Not
There's
a quick,
no chance.
not a quick fix.
You have some customers are worried about things like a broken pool pole, and then you get on site and you see something that's, that's really a big
real.
deal.
It
And
is
you're
a
like,
thing.
oh my gosh, you're worried about something that.
Some of the just a side tale of things that I've seen. Some of the more fun calls that you get, and we don't. It's not. I'm not saying that we don't want to be there for realtors, because we're friends with them. But some of the best ones come from realtors where they're taking pictures like, hey, I'm trying to sell this house. Can you fix this? And it's like, well, we'd have to remove the tree.
Yeah.
The house has been sitting there and there's a tree growing in that we're going to have to, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah,
Hey, is
a
this
tree
cover
growing out of
salvageable? Well, you can, no, just, no.
Probably 30 years ago, though, that tree that was growing out, I did one of those, and people, it's really, the structure was there, the plumbing was there, the floor of the pool was there, but the degradation was beyond, putting a liner on it. Cut the trees out, put a new floor in, put a liner in, and the pool was back going. So, I mean, that could be something to
Service
say
is
about
not going to do that. That's the point. It's like, woo, we're glad to help you, but
But it goes back to the thought process of this pool is ruined. I'm just going to fill it in. It's a rare thing
you're
that you
right.
see a pool
That
that
we
Brad Cook can't
revive.
bring
Yeah.
back to life. Yeah.
To that point, we've got a whole new category in our revenue stream called renovations. So, yeah, I mean, we've got in-ground pools, above-ground pools, semis, hot tubs, saunas, chill tubs.
Yep.
Renovation.
Yep.
And renovation's a good number. I mean, renovation we consider
and
a
that
real
goes
category
even
at
if your
this point.
pool is even if your pool is great, but you want to look at adding a feature
It
or
happens
adding.
too. There was two last year, and I don't know if you remember, but people from out of state were buying a house, but it was only contingent on what we could do with the pool if we could fix the pool. So
Right.
it's a
You could make
it's
a
a
reel.
market.
You can make a reel out of this as well. And also, we did a renovation podcast with Larry Essery.
Beach entry.
I'm sorry.
He wanted beach entry. That you added beach entry to that one, right?
We did it. We did do a beach entry one. Yeah, we talked about a lot of different things, but yeah, and Larry renovated his pool, so he's pretty passionate about renovations. He sold 3 or 4 recently, and I know we've got one coming up here that he just put on the board a few days ago. So
That's
a big
one
category.
example of a refurb that I saw even from this seat. That was like I knew we could do it, but that looks good. Going from a pool with steps to the whole side now as a beach entry, and it
The before
it's like
and
you would
afters
never know.
are really,
Yeah.
kind of
You would-
showstoppers. Yeah, for sure.
because that's something else I think people think. It's like, well, I've got concrete, I've got it all set up. A fountain might be nice, but that's just not something we can do here. Yeah. I'll bet you we could.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, we can do anything. I had a guy tell me one time about putting a pool somewhere, and the guy that was one of my mentors, he said, we can put it on your house if you got the money, and on top of your house if you got the money, and I suppose we could, but I think
You would try to figure that out.
I think, we won't go into that rabbit hole, but I have already done some thinking about that on a small lot. So call me if you've got those aspirations. Man, I just wanted to, I wanted to get John in here because I think anybody that might consider doing business with us, it's always nice to put a face with the name, and I value John as an Alohian, as we call everybody that works here, and the service department is one of those. It used to be like a necessary evil to me, and now it's a pursuit of good. It's not a pursuit of perfection. I mean, it's just pursuit to be the best. And I think we're probably. I mean,
We're top 10.
I was going to say that with also like
Sorry.
with a caveat. No,
I totally stole his
you're
thunder.
good.
Top 10.
No, you're good, but no, I was going to say that with the caveat of we might be considered the top 10 in the top 10 of pool companies, pool service companies in the United States, according to Pool and Spa News magazine. However, like when I saw that come through, I was like, well, I don't know about that. I don't know if we're that good, because I think I feel like we're only as good as our worst call. So
yeah,
but it's really not about that, which I was honored and almost in disbelief that we got that. It's more about like, well, that's not enough, because we were like 9 or 8 one year and 10 one year, so it's not enough. And even if that were to go away, it's not about that. It's about the customer. And if we can do that, that's an ecosystem, and that's why we always try to preach that we create an ecosystem, because people know that they can count on us. So we build their pool, and then we work on that, and they got a place that they can trust to get things done. And we want to make it as easy as we can, and we're not necessarily going to be the cheapest, but we want to be the most convenient and the best source. So we're going to continue to pour into this, and I wanted everybody to meet the new guy at the helm there, and I knew that you you had a lot of intel and a lot of experience with Service Titan, so I wanted to bring Jamie in and John, the Brothers Worrell, in to talk about the service department and our dedication to making it the best around, and even on a national level, if we can ever get to that point.
Yeah.
So, John, how soon can you get us to number 1?
Well, I mean, that's what we're shooting for.
I mean, that's what we, what.
Yeah.
You give us a timetable, next year.
The handy part of that is the guys that we have on the cruise.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Because they're
they
all,
get it.
They all get it. They all 100% get it, and they're all really good at their craft. And
I was partial to the
that.
construction, of course, because I lived in it for a couple of years, and the guys that we have in construction were, man, they're dedicated. And,
well, they are.
And then I get over to the service department, and I'm like, they're dedicated. I mean, it's unbelievable there.
We should knock on wood that this business keeps me up at night, but I don't take it for granted that we have been blessed with the people. The reason the business is what it is because of y'all and all these people that you're talking about right here.
100%.
Because it is a group of people who pours into why they give their life to this company and our customers. I don't know, but sometimes it's extremely humbling for me when I think about it like that, and I can't speak that in a way that people can understand and see my heart on that. I don't think, but yeah, it's a big thing to me.
They know that. They know that, Brad.
Maybe they do.
Yes. They do, and one reason I know they do is because they stick around, and they don't. They'll say things like, Brad may be the craziest individual that you come across, but when it comes down to it, he's one of the greatest men to work for.
Oh,
so he
means well.
Yeah,
may be crazy, but he means
so
well.
it's a hey, I'm going to tell you something. I'd go to war with Jay and Ethan and Jake and the service department we have here. I go to war with them every day. Every day.
The key that I've seen in every one of them is that they advocate for their customer.
Yep.
In just about every angle, whether it's parts, whether it's openings, closings, it doesn't matter. They'll advocate for their customer most 100% of the time. So.
Yep.
That's what it's all about.
It's huge.
They're the people we work for.
Yep.
I'm going to advocate for the listener right now.
Oh, please do.
And say, we appreciate you guys coming on to the Deep Dive Podcast. We're going to wrap things up, and we hope you join us next year. Subscribe, leave comments below. If there's something that you want to know about, you want us to cover, you want to learn more about Aloha, let us know. You can comment on our content. We're always paying attention. Brad will text you back at 3 a.m. And be like, thanks for commenting. So anyway, thank you so much, and dive safely.
That's it.